Alright, let's go guys. This is DM, and as you can see from the background on your screen, we're doing something a little different. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Magic the Gathering fan. I've been playing since I was a little kid. My sister taught me when I was in like elementary school. I played when I was in middle school. I taught a lot of people when I was in high school, and then I kind of fell off of it after that between, high school being high school, having to get a job after high school, having to get a more serious job after high school, moving out, getting a girlfriend, all that crazy stuff. Life happened, right? So I stopped playing for a long time. Um, Joined the military, came to this station where I'm at right now, and made some friends who were into Magic the Gathering again. And there were events going on nearby, so I got back into it. Lo and behold, one thing leads to another. There, from when I played till now, there are different formats that have developed, and one format that we like to play a lot is Commander. So we actually run, me and my wife, who plays, I taught her how to play, along with some of my other friends, taught everybody how to play Commander, which is a different format, and I can get into that some other time. But what we're doing today is that there is a new set coming out. If you don't know, now you know. There's a set coming out for a world called Innistrad, and let me tell you right now, I fucking love this place. I fucking love Innistrad. I think it is the most flavorful place ever. Innistrad is a world that is riddled with the classic monsters. There's zombies, there's spirits, there's werewolves, and there's my all-time favorite monster, the vampire. And as a matter of fact, this is home to a planeswalker who's like the Magic the Gathering's like main character list. Planeswalker who is a vampire. He's one of my favorites, if not my favorite, Soren, and we'll talk about him maybe a little bit. But what I want to do this time, as I keep trying to get back to it, is that there's a new set coming out, right? The pre-release is actually next weekend, and then the weekend after that it's going to be released. And it's got all these new cards, and if you don't play Magic, hey, maybe I can get you interested. If I do get like a lot of interest off these videos, I could teach people how to play to the best of my ability anyway. Uh, Again, it's going to mainly be geared toward Commander, but that's neither here nor there. So what I want to do right now, we're going to take away this little image, and bam, we're on a site called Mythic Spoiler. And I just want to go over some of the new cards, because some of these things are freaking awesome. And I just want to tell you how awesome I think they are and how stupid broken they're going to be. So we're going to start off right here. This is what I was just talking about. It's a Planeswalker. Oh god. This Planeswalker is Liliana the Last Hope. Her three abilities are well, two of her abilities are alright, and then her last ability I think is pretty cool. Her +1, so she gets these little loyalty counters. You see right here? She starts off with 3, and she can either +1, -2, or -7. You obviously can't take away more loyalty counters than you have, so you have to go from 3 to 7 in order to get to her -7. And every Planeswalker's big minus ability, or ultimate, is typically pretty game changing. If you can ultimate a Planeswalker, you're probably in a good place to win. So up to one target creature gets her +1 is up to one target creature gets -2 power, -1 attack until your next turn. Not crazy. It can kill some stuff. It can help deter some damage. Her -2 is put the top 2 cards of your library, which is where your deck sits, into your graveyard, which is your discard pile. And then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. That could be pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous, depending on what's already in your graveyard, especially with black, which as you can see the border around it is black, so it's a black card. And also these are swamps, which is the mana that's generated by black lands. -7, you get an emblem, which is basically a little thing somewhere on your field that you cannot get rid of that states, or with, at the beginning of your end step, so at the end of your turn, put X 2 attack, 2 defense, black zombie creature tokens into the battlefield, where X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. So, first end step, you automatically get 2 even if you have no zombies. Then you get 4. Then you get 6. But that's just talking about the zombies that it's putting out. If you put this in a zombie deck, this is gonna get ridiculous. This is gonna get so ridiculous, so fast. It's gonna be. I can already tell you, it's gonna be broken, broken. All right. So one of the other cards that I thought was kind of cool is this one over here. I'm not gonna bring it up in a new window because while I'm excited about it, I'm only so excited about it. It's a legendary creature, which commanders have to be led by a legendary creature, so that has to be like your general. Basically, Ishkana Graph Widow. Legendary creature, a spider. It's green and black because this is a black symbol. Reach It's a 3/5, 3 attack, 5 toughness, 5 life. Has an ability called Delirium, which basically states that this effect only happens if you have 4 different card types. So creature, sorcery, planeswalker, enchantment. Uh, there's instant and a couple other ones. So in your graveyard whenever the effect needs to happen. So this would be when it enters the battlefield. Right? When this creature enters the battlefield, if there are 4 or more card types among the cards in your graveyard, put 3 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach onto the battlefield. So she comes down, you've got a instant sorcerer creature enchantment in your graveyard, you get 3 little spiders, right? Reach is basically an ability that allows non-flying creatures to block flying creatures, because otherwise flying creatures go right over, right? For 6 mana of any color and a black, target opponent loses 1 life for each spider you control. If you keep her little spiderlings and her, that's 7 mana. Every one of your any target opponent you choose loses 4 life. And then with tokens, there's all kinds. It can get crazy. I'm kind of excited about it. I went to look for like a spider tribal because obviously, so tribal is when you have a lot of the same creature type. In this case, spider. I looked in. There's only like so many good spiders, so I'm not sure if that's gonna work out as well as I thought. Gonna bring this one up though. If it comes up. There we go. So, deploy the Gatewatch. 4 mana, white, white. It's a sorcery, so you can only play it at certain times during the game. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Alright. Put up to 2 Planeswalker cards from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Let me tell you, this is going to be insane. There's already a meta where decks that basically have nothing but planeswalkers or mostly planeswalkers are already a thing. And they've only been getting stronger with the past few sets where there was basically a way to go into your library and find any planeswalker you want and put it in your hand. This is going to help you put 2 of them straight onto the battlefield. So you don't have to pay for them. You're paying 6, and Liliana, which costs 3, and another planeswalker that can cost 6, go right there. So for 6 mana, you just put out 9 mana worth of resources. And maybe got 5 other junk cards off of your draw. So maybe it was 2 planeswalkers and 5 lands that you didn't need because it's late game, and you just got away with that. That's insane. That is insane. It's going to be broken, it's going to be stupid, and it should be nerfed. Let's see. What else in here that I thought was really cool? This is going to be dumb. Gisela the Broken Blade. I popped up an image or a window that you can't see obviously, but I'm not going to show it to you because I just thought about it. 4 mana, 4/3, flying first strike, lifelink, already insane. Lifelink basically whenever it deals damage, you gain that much life back. First strike means my creature hits you first, so if a 4/3 and a 4/3 hit each other, the first strike one is going to kill the other one first. Flying, like I said, flies over creatures that don't have flying. At the beginning of your end step, if you both own and control Gisela, this creature, and Bruna, this creature under here, which I'll talk about in a second, exile them, then meld them into. Okay, I am going to show you what the image is because it's going to show you what the other thing is. Bruna, for 7 mana, is a 5/7 flying and vigilance. Vigilance basically says attacking doesn't cause it to tap, so you can keep it back as a blocker. When you cast Bruna, you may return target angel or human creature card from your graveyard again to the battlefield. So let's say you have Gisela and they kill her. Then you cast Bruna. She brings her back. Then you end your turn and Gisela's ability pops in. They meld and become this crazy son of a bitch. First of all, look at the art on this thing. This thing is disgusting. It's a nightmare, voice of nightmares. Brisella, voice of nightmares. It's a 9/10. 9 power, 10 toughness. That's a lot. Flying, first strike, vigilance, lifelink. Your opponents can't cast spells with a converted mana cost 3 or less. So a converted mana cost, for those who don't know, is the total mana cost of a card. This converted mana cost is 4. 2, 1, 1. So anything that costs 3 or less, you can no longer do. And in standard games, which is like one of the main formats that this game rides on, 3 mana cost cards or less probably is the majority of your deck because you want to win fast. You want to get your shit out before everybody else's shit. Alright, so I'm going to talk about one card really quick that I'm not excited about. Oath of Liliana. So in the past set, there was all these Planeswalker cards, and these oath cards, and each one was an oath of planeswalker name. So what that meant basically was these planeswalkers had joined together and created what they called an oath watch, which is why they're oath of so and so. They're each enchantments, and they each have an ability that kind of corresponds to how that planeswalker, how their abilities interact. It was meant to accentuate their abilities, right? Here's my problem. All those planeswalkers, there was four. There was Gideon for white, Nissa for green, Chandra for red, and Jace for blue, right? The four of the five colors. So everybody's like, all right, so who's going to be the planeswalker for black that joins the Gatewatch, or Oathwatch? Liliana has a notorious streak of being the bad guy. She's not a good guy. And I understand that, you know, situations make enemy or allies out of enemies, but I was kind of disappointed storyline wise to see Liliana join the Oath. And like her quote on the bottom here, this flavor text, is exactly how I felt. I'll keep watch. Happy now? It's kind of like, are we happy now that we've taken one of Magic's main bad girls, politically correct, main bad girls, and put her in a situation where she had to be a good guy? I don't know. I'm not too crazy about it. I'm not too crazy about it. I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't lie. Alright, so let's scroll down a little bit. I don't want this video to go on too long, especially if, you know, there's not a lot of Magic the Gathering fans out there. As you can see, these are, again, mythicspoiler.com. You can go and see and read all this for yourself. Hey, look, a new spider. For your spider tribal deck. Haha, yeah. So the story behind this is that Innistrad was attacked by these creatures called the Eldrazi, which are basically these creatures that can jump from world to world, and all they want to do is destroy the world. They want to eat it, suck up all the life out of it, and then move on to the next one. They're basically like the plague of the multiverse, which is where these planes sit. And I wasn't thrilled when they revealed that Eldrazi were the big bad guys of this set, because we just had Eldrazi's in the last set. If anybody's a Magic player, you already know that, you know, Zendikar, which is the plane before this one, was dealing with Eldrazi. And granted, like, there's different players here now. I don't know. I just, like, how long are we going to have the same bad guys? You know what I mean? So one card I do want to talk about, because it's stupid and it's broken and it's horrible. This bitch right here. The bad guy. The ultimate Eldrazi. There's 3 Eldrazi Titans. There's Kozilek, Ulamog, and this baby right here, Emrakul, the Promised End. 13/13 for 13 mana. Already ridiculous. Of course, it's a legendary creature, so it can be a commander. It is colorless, which is why you don't see any kind of mana symbols on it. And of course, it's an Eldrazi, like I said. Emrakul, the Promised End, costs 1 less to cast for each card type among cards in your graveyard. Again, so if you have an instant, sorcery, and a creature, it costs 3 less, so it only costs 10. If you have all of them, I think there's about 7 card types. So you can knock it down to like 6. 6 mana for a 13/13. That's ridiculous. When you cast Emrakul, you gain control of target opponent during that player's next turn. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. What? What? You don't take control of a planeswalker, of an artifact, of a creature that they control, of a spell they're trying to cast. You take over that player's turn. There's only a few cards in all of Magic, and I think most of them are some of the most hated cards in the freaking game. Simply because you play a card like that, like there's a black card called Worst Fears, which I think for 8 or 9 mana you get to, again, take over somebody's turn. It's a dick card, because you sacrifice as much shit as you can. You hurt their position as much as you can, so that when they get their control back, they're fucked. This is actually, I'll be fair, this is kind of good, kind of bad, because that player gets an extra turn. So, like, you get their turn, but then they get to at least take their turn. So it's not like they get to sit out for a whole round. Especially in multiplayer games, that can be pretty annoying. If it's a 4-person game, it's like you and then them. So it should be, they just waited for that, the 3rd person and the 4th person, and then you to go. Then they have to wait for the 3rd person and the fourth person and you to go again to get their turn. So they gotta wait 6 turns to get a turn. It's ridiculous. So at least this kind of helps out with that. And then of course there are some other keyword mechanics. Flying, trample basically says any leftover damage. So if you block me with a 1/1 and I've got a 13, -1 from 13, 12 damage tramples over. Protection from instants. You cannot target Emrakul with instants. So any kind of removal, whether it's destroy a creature, exile a creature, you basically can only kill this thing with a board wipe or a sorcery. Which isn't the end of the world. There are a decent amount of sorcery level removal spells, whether it's bounce or whatever. I think that means it can't be countered too, because counters have to be instant speed so that you can play them on other people's turns. So yeah, that's probably ridiculous. That is probably ridiculous. All right, there's a couple. I think there's a few more cards. I was trying to come up with a number, and every time I looked, I was like, crap, that's another one. Crap, that's another one. Crap, that's another one. We're gonna look at this one first. It is another Planeswalker. It's the only other Planeswalker in this set. Tamiyo, Field Researcher. 1 of any color, green, white, and blue. So it's 4 mana, right? 4 converted mana costs. Planeswalker Tamiyo. So it comes in with 4 loyalty points. +1. Choose up to 2 target creatures. I didn't see the S on creatures, and I was like, 2 target creature. Typo. But it wasn't. Until your next turn, whenever either one of those creatures deals combat damage, you draw a card. It does not say the target creature has to be yours. So if you know somebody has like an unblockable creature or a creature with trample, and you know that they like to swing it and deal damage, why not give me cards, right? -2s tap up to 2 target non-land permanents. So they can be creatures, they can be artifacts, they can be enchantments, they can be anything other than land. And they don't untap during their controller's next untap step, which is the part of the game where you untap all your stuff at the beginning of your turn so that you have everything available to you. So basically, if the next person going has something I don't want them to be able to attack with, or an artifact I don't want them to be able to tap and use, I turn around, I tap it. And then they don't get it next turn. So it's pretty ridiculous. -7, draw 3 cards. You gain an emblem with you may cast non-land cards from your hand without paying their mana cost. Holy shit. Not only do you put more cards in your hand, but then play everything for free. What is that? So they've done that like I think once before on an enchantment for blue. That's insane. If somebody gets that to -7, that's probably the end of the game. That's the reality of it. It's probably the end of the game. The next card I want to talk about is my 2 favorite siblings in all of Innistrad, Gisa and Geralf. Gisa and Geralf were previously separate cards. Gisa was a black legendary creature, and Geralf was a blue legendary creature. Both of them deal with the same thing. Gisa is a necromancer who makes zombies. Geralf is a stitcher, or kind of like a more scientific version, an animator, who also makes zombies through a different means. They hate each other normally, so the fact that we could see them in a card together is so cool. So for 2, a blue and a black, legendary creature, human wizards, 4/4, which is pretty strong. When it enters the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. So you again take stuff out of your deck and put it in your graveyard. During each of your turns, you may cast a zombie creature card from your graveyard. What? Here I'm going to supply myself with these zombies, because you obviously want to put it in a zombie deck, or maybe running a zombie deck. And here, every turn, get another one out. Get another one out. We're going to make this short, and I'm going to do only one more. And it's going to, of course, be a legendary, because that means it could be a commander. And this is one that everybody's really excited about. And there's a reason for it. This is the second time that we've seen Innistrad. The first time was the first introduction to cards that flip over. So the front has something, and the back, instead of having the usual magic card back, has actually another card on there. Like how Gisela and Bruna are going to have something on the back to make Bricella, or whatever the hell it was called. Werewolves were the first ones to really do that. So they first became really popular in the first time Innistrad obviously introduced them. Since then, people have been begging and just overall wanting some kind of a legendary werewolf. They came out in the last part of this set, the first half of this set, with a werewolf planeswalker that does have a front and a back, and she can transform into her werewolf form, and her abilities are listed different on the back than the ones on her front. So it's really cool, but that's, of course, the first set. Now they have created a legendary creature who is a werewolf. Werewolf commanders, and you can even see in the comments, on one hand, finally a legendary werewolf. Some people are calling it bad. But, yeah. So we'll talk about the disappointing part, but people have been waiting so much for a legendary creature werewolf. Alright, so for 3 mana, red and green, Eldritch of the Kralin Horde, human werewolf. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into himself, so transforms back into this version, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. So he hits battlefield, +4/+4. If he transforms into this part, he gets this effect, but if he transforms back into this part, he gets this effect. At the beginning of each upkeep, so the beginning of everybody's turn, there's a phase called an upkeep, which is a rules question. I'm not going to get into it. If no spells were cast last turn, transform, which means you flip him. So if I take my turn, only use abilities on my cards, attack, and then pass my turn, I get to transform him. If another player does that, I get to transform him, and he becomes Eldritch Uncontested Alpha. Legendary creature, just werewolf. He's not a human anymore, he's just a werewolf. Whenever this creature transforms into this version, you may have it fight target non-werewolf creature you don't control. At the beginning of each upkeep, if a player casts 2 or more spells last turn, transform him back. So, here is why everybody is disappointed. You would think with a legendary werewolf, so the entire point, or all the power that werewolves get is from transforming into their werewolf form. They're stronger, their abilities are stronger, everything about them is better. There are a total of, I think, 3 cards in all of Magic that force werewolves to transform without having to meet the whole no spells cast, because that's usually, I can't think of any time a werewolf doesn't do a transformation based on that, unless it's by another ability. So this legendary creature doesn't force all his other werewolf friends, so he's an alpha, and he doesn't lead the pack by making everybody transform. And even better, or even worse, I should say, he doesn't prevent them from transforming back. Like, yes, this one has an ability when he transforms back, and it's kind of good. +4/+4 is alright. I would rather have my werewolves unable to transform back into their human forms. That would have made him probably amazing. I can't imagine any werewolf player, and I know like 2 or 3, who wouldn't want to run somebody who, even if I had to get to the point to transform him, even if I had to sacrifice my turn and not cast spells this turn so I could transform them, as long as Ulrich stayed out and he was transformed, and that prevented all my other werewolves from transforming back, and of course him, that would have made this the ultimate werewolf commander. That alone. Never mind the fact that, like, this fight ability, so what fight does is, let's say, so it makes him fight a non-werewolf. So he deals 6 damage directly to somebody, and whatever that person is that you dealt damage to, that other creature, deals it directly, their power directly to him. So if somebody has a 4/4, like let's say I play him and you play him, and I transform him first, my 6/6 hits your 4/4, your 4/4 hits my 6/6. I get to kill your 4/4, right? 6 damage to 4 life, I kill him. Your 4 damage to my 6 life, I get to live with 2 life remaining for the rest of the turn. It's not great. Maybe if any time a werewolf transforms, they fought, maybe that would have done it. I don't know. But overall, like, this, I think this side is fine. Like, the Ulrich side is fine. 5 mana for a 4/4, and he gives +4/+4. And it's target creature, so if you can find a way to give him haste so that he can attack this turn, or the turn he comes out, he can give himself, and he could be an 8/8. That's pretty good. That's pretty cool. This is fine if this is better, but I think they dropped the ball on Uncontested Alpha. That's my opinion. Again, I'm more of a vampire player, so it is what it is. Um, but yeah, those are some of the, I think, cooler cards. Definitely some of the more impact cards. I obviously only went through rares. As you can see, the black symbol is common, the gray symbol is uncommon, the gold symbol, if I can get back up toward the top of this, the gold symbol is rare, and then the reddish golden symbol is the mythic rare. Uh, so I went over probably, I mean, it's probably the more commandery impacty cards, but yeah, those are my thoughts on this set so far. Overall, I'm pretty excited. Liliana in a zombie deck, maybe led by Gisa and Geralf. I would love to play that. Planeswalker decks are going to get so much more powerful with Deploy the Gatewatch. Just straight here they are, and then I get to use each Planeswalker's ability, that turn. Spider Tribal, maybe it'll be a thing. I kind of hope it will be. This is just ridiculous if you can get these two out and let them meld together. And then Emrakul is stupid insane. Stupid insane. You can get them out quicker if you can play our self-familiar yourself. The protection from instants is great protection. It doesn't make him too unbeatable. The extra turn thing is stupid. Like all extra, or I mean not extra turn thing, the control another person's thing is stupid. Tamio is ridiculously, if you get that ult, I don't know how you're going to lose. I don't know how you're going to lose. And Ulrich, you just disappointed me. Actually, you know what? We're going to talk about one more. We're going to talk about one more. There's not enough vampires in this conversation for me. So, Bloodhall Priest. First of all, look at the art on this girl. That's a nice dress. Like, that's a weird thing for me to say, but that's her outfit and the way she looks. I wish the background was probably a little bit more prominent, but I know that the whole light thing was meant to like draw attention to her. That's freaking cool though. This is awesome. This is an awesome art, and it's well done. Bloodhall Priest is a vampire cleric. She's a 4/4, so she hits for 4, she can block up to 4. 4/4 mana for a converted mana cost of 4. 2 of anything, a black and a red. It's already pretty good. Whenever she enters the battlefield or attacks, if you have no cards in hand, she deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Then this second ability really speaks to how you're going to have no cards in hand. Madness, with a mana cost of 1, a black and red. So Madness is a mechanic that states if you would have to discard this card for any reason, discard it into exile, so remove it from the game. When you do, pay its Madness cost, which is 1 black and red, and you get to basically play that card for that cost, or put it in your graveyard. So basically it says, if for some reason you would have to discard this card, which means between that ability making her cheaper by 1 and her other ability saying every time she enters the battlefield or when she goes to attack, if you don't have cards in your hand, deal 2 damage to something, you're obviously going to be trying to make yourself discard cards somehow, some way. You're gonna have cards that the payment is the discard card, something. You'll find a way. And basically, the Madness Vampire deck is going to be I'm hoping it to do very well in standard tournaments. I really want to see anything other than green-white do really well in standard play, because that's been a problem recently, and there's other articles about that, but whatever, I'm not going to get into that. But, yeah. Vampire Madness. Black-red, Vampire Madness. It's going to be a thing. I have a casual deck myself that is Vampire Madness. I call it casual because it's not standard legal because I have cards that are not legal for it. They're too old, apparently. And honestly, if I pull these Bloodhall Priests, they're going in. They're going in. It's how can you not? You could possibly for 3 mana get a 4/4 that can start dealing extra damage if you don't have cards in your hand, and Madness helps you keep cards. The Madness theme helps you keep cards from being in your hand. It's extra damage before they even actually deal damage from attacking. It's crazy. It's insane. Why would you not love it? That's all I got for you for this one. If anybody did, or if you did enjoy watching this, if you want me to go a little bit more into depth into some of the cards that were released, I can go over some of the other rares, some of the other uncommons and commons that I think are going to be big bomb plays. But in order for me to do that, I gotta know that you liked it. So leave me a like, comment, or subscription. Always remember you can follow me on Twitter now at DM_cross. That's it for this one. This was Eldritch Moon. Did I ever say the name of the set? I know I said the name of the planes. The set is called Eldritch Moon. Uh, as you can see right there, Eldritch Moon is the name of the set. Comes out next weekend, the 16th and the 17th for pre-release, and then the weekend after that for full release, where you can just buy anything you want. During the pre-release, you should only really be able to buy the pre-release boxes. Go find your local card game store to get more information on any kind of event. And until next time, guys, that's all I got for you. Peace. Love y'all.